Hey everybody, Charles for HumbleMechanic.com, and today we're talking DIY oil changes. So today I'm going to show you how to do your own oil change. We're going to be using my 2005 Volkswagen Passat 1.8 Turbo. I'm going to be using an OEM filter as well as Pennzoil Platinum oil 5W30. Now, if you don't drive a 2005 Volkswagen Passat, don't worry and stick around because I'm going to give you guys some really good tips on changing oil on any vehicle. Before we get started, I got to thank Apex Tuning in Apex, North Carolina for letting me use their shop to do this oil change video for you guys. You know, doing an oil change at home on jack stands is not a problem and nothing I'm scared of, but it's a heck of a lot easier to do a video for you guys while I can put the car up on the lift and show you exactly what I'm doing. Also, we want to make sure that we're working safe, we're working clean, staying organized, and have a plan to properly dispose of not only the old oil, but the old oil filter as well. The tools that we're going to need for this particular job are going to be a 19mm wrench, a Phillips head screwdriver, a flat head screwdriver, a 10mm wrench, and an oil filter wrench. Now, this particular oil filter is actually buried underneath the coolant bottle. You can access it from underneath, but it's much easier to do it just by taking the coolant bottle loose. So all I really have to do is remove these 3 screws in order to get the coolant bottle loose. I don't need to worry about draining any coolant or opening the cooling system for this job. Now what you don't want to do is just pull this coolant bottle back. You want to take it easy on it because there is a connector underneath, as you can see here. So we want to make sure we disconnect that. Now that we have that disconnected, we can actually move the coolant bottle quite a bit more out of the way and gain access to our filter. Now, odds are you're going to make a little bit of a mess taking this oil filter out. A lot of people will cover the hole in the subframe with a piece of duct tape or something. I've even seen people cut washer fluid jugs in order to catch all of that oil. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and take the filter out with my oil filter wrench and clean the mess up when I'm done. Crack the filter loose with our wrench, and then I'm going to grab a rag and kind of hold it underneath the filter to try and catch as much of this hot engine oil as I can. I'm going to go ahead and pull the old oil filter out. Now, before you put the new filter on, you're going to want to take a look at the mating surface where the oil filter mounts and make sure that it's clean and free of debris. Also make sure that you didn't leave the gasket from the old filter on there to cause a double gasket situation. That's a really good way to pump a lot of oil out of your engine in a hurry. Also, before you put the new filter on, you're going to want to lubricate the seal of the filter. Simply taking a little bit of engine oil on your finger and rubbing it around the seal is all you really need to do. And doing that can prevent the O-ring from sticking on the next time to prevent that double gasket situation that we just talked about. Now, I'm going to go ahead and drop this filter down and spin it back on the filter housing. Now, in order to tighten this, I'm going to let it touch the surface of the oil filter housing, and then I'm going to give it about a half a turn. That way it's not impossible to get the filter off when I go to change the oil the next time. We're going to clean up any mess, and we're going to move to underneath the car. So now that we're under the car, we have to remove this splash shield before we can get to the oil pan. Removing the belly pan on this generation Passat is probably one of the trickier Volkswagen belly pans to remove. There's a total of 10 fasteners to get this pan off. Fortunately or unfortunately, by now most of these cars are missing a good chunk of their belly pan hardware. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these fasteners off. We have 3 in the back, and I like to take those off first so that any oil that dripped into the belly pan while we were taking the filter out will drain backwards. There's 4 quarter turns on the fender liners, and I like to leave those near where they came from. Those are going to be plastic retainers. There's 2 fasteners at the front and 1 10mm nut at the front of the pan. And now we can ease our belly pan down. Your belly pan may have these little retention wings at the back, and I usually just take the belly pan off those retention wings so that I can get it completely out of the way. Now that we got our belly pan off, we can go ahead and drain the engine oil. Now, here you'll see our drain plug for our engine oil, and I'm gonna go ahead and crack that loose, and then I like to take these out by hand. One thing you wanna be very, very, very careful of is that if your vehicle has just been driven on a 2-hour road trip, this oil's gonna be boiling hot. So you want to be extra careful when taking this drain plug out, not to burn yourself. Basically what you want to do is crack it loose with the wrench or a ratchet and socket, and then twist it out by hand. If you can't twist it out by hand, that means you may have some damage to either the threads of the oil pan or the drain plug itself. I'm also holding it here for just a minute while I get myself ready to pull the drain plug out, and I'm gonna actually pull it out and mostly back so that the oil doesn't sort of follow the drain plug and hit me in the face. Because a face full of oil is no fun. So you can see I pulled that away pretty quick. We're gonna let this oil drain, and while I let that drain, a couple of things that you may wanna do while you're underneath your vehicle waiting for the oil drain is do some visual inspections on your car. Check things like suspension links and brakes and CV joints, as well as look for any oil leaks or coolant leaks or transmission fluid leaks. And it's really a good opportunity if you've never been underneath your car to get a good look at what it looks like under there. And if anything looks out of the ordinary or you're not sure and you feel like that might be outside of your skill set, you want to take that in and have someone check it for you. A lot of these things are very, very heavy safety items, so you don't want to run the risk of having an issue that maybe you put off for a while and wind up being a severe safety problem. And when it comes to the time frame of draining the oil, it really depends on the temperature of the oil. My car was pretty warm when we started this job, so I'm going to let it drain for probably about 10 minutes. That may be a little long, but you know, I'm not in a big hurry, and I don't recommend that you're in a big hurry either when you're doing your own oil change. All right, now that we have pretty much all the oil drained out of the engine, I'm gonna go ahead and put the drain plug in. And another tip, you wanna make sure that you always replace the crush washer on the drain plug. If you reuse the crush washer or forget to use the crush washer, you're gonna find a second way to drain oil out of your engine really fast. Much like when we took the drain plug out, I like to thread these all the way in by hand till it's snug, and then I'll go ahead and use the wrench to tighten it up. If you don't have a torque wrench, you want to get it to just where the point of the crush washer crushes. So now that we have the drain plug installed and properly tightened, all the oil that spilled from when we changed the filter cleaned up, I'm gonna go ahead and put the belly pan back on, lower the car down, and finish up the oil change. So we're back on the ground, and before we get wrapped up with the oil change and add oil, I'm gonna actually put the coolant bottle back on and make sure that I got the oil filter tight. So now that I have the coolant bottle installed and I double check the oil filter, it's time to put oil in the engine. I always like to pull the dipstick up so that you can actually fill the engine with oil faster. Now I'm gonna be using a funnel to prevent, or at least reduce the odds of me spilling any oil. Now I bought the 5-quart jug of Pennzoil Platinum oil. This is again 5W30. Now again, with everything that we've done on this oil change, we want to make sure that we're really not in any hurry to fill the engine with oil. That can lead to either overfilling or spilling it and making a mess. I've been using Pennzoil Platinum oil for about 1.5 years now, so this must be about the 4th oil change that I've done with this particular oil on my Passat. So that's just under 4 quarts that I put in. I'm gonna do a quick check to see where the oil level is at now. Based on the dipstick, I'm a little bit overfilled, which is actually okay, because remember, we don't have any oil in the filter. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the dipstick on, put the oil cap on, and start the car and let it run for a minute, and then shut it off and recheck the oil level. All right, I started the car and then I shut it off. I let it sit for a couple minutes, recheck the oil level, and it's a little bit low, so I'm just gonna go ahead and top it up. So now we have the engine oil level right. We need to go through and top off the rest of our fluids: power steering, coolant, washer fluid. We need to check our brake fluid, and if it's low, we need to look at why it's low. Perhaps our brakes are worn out and it's time for them to be replaced. We also want to make sure we put our oil cap and dipstick back on properly. I'm a little OCD about it, so I always like to put them right side up. We also want to make sure we dispose of our old oil and oil filter properly. And you can do that at pretty much any auto parts store that sells oil and filters. They'll be able to take care of that for you. All right, guys, there you have it, a full DIY oil change on a 2005 Volkswagen Passat. And another thanks to the boys at Apex Tuning for hanging around late and letting me borrow their lift and facility to do this oil change video for you guys. If you have any questions or comments, post it in the comments section below. Hey, if you like the video, throw it a thumbs up on YouTube. I always appreciate that. You can also subscribe on YouTube or on the blog at humblemechanic.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the blog, and obviously here on YouTube. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.